He played in a championship game against Kentucky in 58 at Seattle. Lost 83-70, 82-70. That was Rupp's. Was that his last championship? It may have been. I don't think he won one after that, did he? Kentucky. I think that was his last title. He did not win one in the 60s. He goes, it wouldn't. So that may have been his last title, but he lost to Elgin in that game to Kentucky at Freedom Hall in Louisville. And then he went to the Lakers in Minneapolis, and that first year took him to the NBA Final. Big upset. They only won 39 games, and they got smoked by Boston in 4. But he was on that Laker team in 59. The famous airplane scene with Elgin, too. Don't you remember, folks? He was flying home on a road trip somewhere with a bunch of players, and the plane landed in an Iowa cornfield. You remember that famous story with the great I'd love to get somebody on about that today. It might be tricky today since it just happened an hour or so ago, but we'll see what we can do. Rich in Massachusetts, Mad Dog Unleashed. Rich, good afternoon. How are you today, buddy? What do you have? Go ahead. Rich?
Hey, Mad Dog. How are you?
How are you, buddy? What's on your mind today?
Okay, so a few things about the tournament. First of all, it's the tournament more than most other things is strictly about matchups, and you're dealing with teams that don't normally play each other. And a perfect example, Syracuse. Okay, whether they're good or just okay, when you go to play them and you're not used to playing them and you've never seen that zone, it's kind of like you're playing against Baltimore. You've never played against Lamar Jackson. And no matter what you do practicing during the week, the first time you get out there and you got them lined up to nail them, and the next thing you know, you're grabbing it air, you realize you can't simulate it till you see it. And so that's what happened. In the last 3 times they've been an 11 seed, they've at least made the Sweet 16 once the Final Four. Okay, and that's the main reason. But also, you've got all these teams.
Go ahead.
Okay, you've got all these teams that no one. 90% of the people couldn't name you one player on the team, like Oral Roberts or Ohio or so on. And so what happens is if for the first weekend, it creates a lot of good betting opportunities, because by the second weekend, it tends to be a lot tighter games with the Blue Bloods coming to the to the top. And I had 3 games yesterday. Okay, actually 4. I had Syracuse, but the 3 games I had Ohio, LC Santa Barbara, and Texas Abilene, all of them with the points and the money line. And I should have won all 3 on the money line.
You lost the Gaucho game, and you should have won that game, Santa Barbara. You're right, 100%. Go ahead.
Right. And the money line creates a scenario where you can bet the team with the points, like 7 points, and you can bet less on the money line. The money line's plus 270. So even if you don't win the game like I did with Santa Barbara, but you cover the spread, which I did, you still win money, okay, because of the discrepancy in odds. And you'll find, and also regarding the Big Ten, they're always overrated. If you go back and look through history, they
never do much. I agree.
More so they have more top seeds, like 1, 2, and 3 seeds, that lose in the first round or 2 than anybody else. I'm not counting 7 and 10 seeds, but yesterday was and I actually thought, honestly, I loved Loyola of Chicago, and I said, I don't think they could beat it because Illinois really is legit this year, and I was wrong. Okay, I should have listened to myself.
Well, Illinois got Illinois. Good call, Rich. Illinois got killed by the one thing that I will defend Illinois on. Now, Loyola was a horrendous seed. I mean, they should not have made that. They are not an 8 seed. I mean, with their history and him as a coach, and the fact they won 24 ball games in the course of the year, and their conference, and their and their tournament, they should not have been an 8 seed. I mean, that is a joke. I mean, BYU is a 6 seed, and they are an 8 seed, and that's a bad matchup. See, those 8-9 things, I mean, that's really a bad matchup for the Loyola team, too. But as it turns out, in this case, it turned out to be a horrendous matchup it turned out to be a horrendous matchup for Illinois, because normally Loyola should have been a 4 or 5 seed. I mean, they were 4 or 5 spots seated lower than they should have been, which normally would have killed them because they got a 1 seed. In this case, it killed Illinois. Now, I don't want to make any excuses for Illinois. That was a horrendous performance. No excuses whatsoever. bad performance. But keep in mind that Loyola was a bad draw for the Illini in the second round. Not in front of the arrow. We continue. We're on Mad Dog Unleashed.